Good afternoon, my friends. DRBMiller here. How's everybody doing? Hope you are healthy, safe and well at home, and I welcome you all to our Bleeding Edge world.
This is a citizen's announcement.
Following the illegal hacking of human augment systems, black market cybernetic technology continues to spread globally.
On tonight's program, we discuss how illegal body modifications are
Awesome! These guys are augmented freaks!
advanced.
Monsters!
Yes, augmented. Like you. I mean, isn't that why you're here?
Targets acquired. It looks like they're...
Some sort of strange fight club.
This sport is spreading like a plague. These criminals must be rounded up and...
Was I supposed to shout or something here?
Let's go, Misfit! Get to the objective!
We are stronger together.
The energy shall be freed!
Bubble, toilet.
Why do we fight? Because we like it. Why don't you join us? Cause chaos.
There we are. Well, first of all, I wish to tell you a few more things about the game. We played Bleeding Edge as part of beta a little while back before the game was released, and it was a very good experience. It was very enjoyable, although on the tech front the game didn't really function during the weekend. I also took part in the Xbox Ambassadors Community Challenge, and you know, we had some fun, but overall, we just had a very good impression of what this game was going to be like. The game has been released immediately after, so it was within a week, and so far it's received a very good response from gamers and the industry alike. Lots of people are playing it and enjoying it, and I'm just quite curious to see what the game is going to be like once I get my teeth into all the activities with those lovable rogues, the characters whom you've just seen in this brief cutscene. They are criminals, they are doing all kinds of terrible things around town, and we are going to be fighting in teams. It's a bit like a battle royale, and you are then basically collecting scores, collecting all kinds of goodies. And what I really liked during the beta was those randomly selected best moments clips, which you could kind of like and post to Facebook, and that really is very good in terms of the community and, you know, kind of social interactivity overall. So I'm quite curious to see what they've done since, and I've had some messages coming in from Microsoft and from Ninja Theory indicating that there have been some enhancements and some new additions, so it's going to be a very good fun really having a look at it. I mean, basically this is primarily a combination of battle royale with fighting, so anyone who is quite keen on fighting games overall will find it very enjoyable. The only trick here is you have lots of special abilities, and the characters are highly customizable, which means you need to work on the mods, you need to constantly add on certain elements in order to make them more powerful. But I need to see how it works really all together on the tech front, because initially during the beta that didn't work. We had like two teams, one team reaching 260 and the other one was still 16. Purely in terms of the skill points, and that really indicated there was a serious problem with accessing servers and everything else. I'm quite certain that's all long gone. Basically, visually, the game is reminiscent of Apex and Borderlands, perhaps more aligned to Borderlands in terms of its graphics and visuals. The characters are also very similar. They're kind of lovable rogues. You can customize them, you can get skins, you can I guess grow together with them, but there are lots of characters to choose from, and each one of them will have special abilities. So similar to what we've seen in, for instance, Anthem, if you're building a team, and actually they tried in Destiny very recently to do exactly the same thing. The idea is, if you're building a team, and let's say you are a solo player, right? And you want to create a team that's going to be accessible to anybody else out there who will be participating in multiplayer, let's say randomly selected players. And then you will have a character per team, right? Even better if you're having several teams of your own, your friends or community members who are on your kind of permanent squad that is going to be fighting, like a steady crew that's going to be fighting all the other opponents. Then you will have a character customized for every type of situation, and that will take a bit of time, a bit of practice, a bit of exercise, and it will not be easy, because obviously there is a lot to be learned from various characters. But in due course, after a few weeks, once you kind of master each character, you are really fully in control, and therefore you are getting a great deal of advantage compared to others. As you will see, for instance, that really works the best if you're playing against a steady group of opponents, when you know their tactics. If you're doing it randomly, still, your team will choose the characters that will be applicable to a particular strategy. So this is very, very advanced compared to even 5 years ago, and you've seen that in some other tactical shooters and FPS games where you can customize characters within a team. Most beautifully done recently with Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone. I think it's a masterpiece. Really, it's a fantastic game, and you don't have the flavor of Battle Royale really. It's like a proper tactical shooter. With your team, you need to do everything together as a unit in order to progress as far as possible. Basically, your survival rate is the most important thing there, and therefore you can pitch your character. I was saying to my community members, create a squad of 4 which is like a specialist team. One is a Charlie team assault member, the other is the Delta team, the one who's watching your back, and obviously the specialist with weaponry for the assaults will have automatic weapons, machine guns, and all the artillery he needs. And then the one who's watching your back will have stealth weapons, which is the top-notch snipers, just doing recce's, observing, watching your back. And then you'll have a person who's perfect in navigation in order to be basically knowing exactly the map and directing you from one point to another. And then you have probably explosives expert, somebody who knows what to do with, with mortars and mines and all other types of explosive devices which are easily and readily available to you. So really, think about it. You make a specialist team, each character does something else, and all together are a fantastic unit. But equally, each character has got to be trained for 2 basic things. That's basic combat and defense. Let's say if you're playing defensively stealthily, if you are compromised, you will need to know how to get out of the situation where you're compromised. You need to be quite good in fierce fighting, and then the fighting is to suppress, and then you evac. So you're not going to be like fighting in order to neutralize all the enemies. Or the other way around, if you are a combat Charlie team, then you are like the assault team, and you want to be simply knowing how to get away from a situation if it gets too hairy. So really, it's a lot to learn. There are lots of skills out there, and there's plenty for you to access over a number of weeks in order to create such teams. So in Bleeding Edge, we are watching exactly the same sort of approach. It's quite advanced. As you will see, the characters are very, very entertaining. I really enjoyed playing each one of them, and they're quite significantly different. So the abilities will be, quite variable when you compare, and they will be applied to certain situations. Right, so this is what we are going to do. We are going to be trying a bit of Bleeding Edge, and I forgot to tell you, the reason I'm doing Bleeding Edge this weekend is very simple. Every weekend on Xbox and Microsoft we get up to 6 freebies. These are full games with full access, literally for at least 2 to 4 days for everyone to enjoy. It is the best possible introduction to any kind of game out there, and particularly because we have always about 2 or 3 blockbusters as well, or the major releases that can be tried. I've tried quite a selection during the last few months. We've had Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I really enjoyed. We've had Rainbow Six Siege, which in any case I played on PlayStation. We had Ghost Recon Breakpoint with a brand new experience mode, which is fantastic. We had, what else? Let me think. We had Starlink, that really is like a perfect discovery. I not played the game before and I loved it. We had, well, you know, quite a sort of Elder Scrolls, we had Gears of War, and the list just goes on and on. As you can see, these are very, very big games, and being able to try them for free, therefore, is fantastic. I really applaud both Microsoft and the developers for offering that every single weekend. And obviously for holidays or for bank holidays, we get a longer stretch. Some games though are even for 2 weeks. You know, we've had, I think, 10 days on Elder Scrolls. We had now, I think on Bleeding Edge was about 5 days. So it depends on the actual offer coming from the developer. But you can obviously chisel it really for those 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and definitely double check all the arrivals on Thursday once declared, and you can download, you know, leave them overnight for download so they're all ready for you to enjoy on the following day. Don't really, if you have a massive game of 120, 130 gigs, don't really download it on Friday, because it's going to take up 6 hours. You lose that valuable time that otherwise could be spent on exploring the brand new blockbuster that's given to you for free. Right, I will give you some brief update on the situation in our country now. We are yet again experiencing a very high number of casualties. Lots of people are sadly dying as a result of COVID-19 infection. And as we've seen with our regular press conferences, we are going to be sticking to the lockdown for some time to come. And I think everybody in our country, and I literally ask all of our gamers and friends and community members worldwide to do exactly the same. You need to stay indoors. You need to be at home. You need to be doing something meaningful. You can do some serious course of study. You can actually finish the whole major course online within this period because you have so much time on your hands. Or you can do some reading. You can do some online activity here with gaming and you know, blending in with the rest of the community on Twitch, Mixer, or any other forum, YouTube gaming. And or you can exercise at home, standing exercises, stretching, yoga, all sorts. Don't go out. Don't really try doing things which will allow the virus to be spreading, and do not get in contact face to face with other people. Doesn't matter who they are, your loved ones, your relatives, you need to stay away from them. We are reducing the capacity of the virus to get transmitted in the community, and we're doing very well, reporting below 1, which is fantastic considering this virus does have the contamination ratio, or the contagion ratio I should say, around 5. So that's a major achievement due to the measures applied. And I personally think that what they're doing in Europe perhaps is slightly premature, but then on the other hand you need to really consider demographics. You need to consider how many cases of infection and death people had in specific countries, how well populated certain areas are, what measures have been implemented. There are lots of factors to consider. We can't really put everyone on the same footing, and these factors are extremely important, of course, because they will tell you that in some countries they're having hardly any deaths, or hardly any, or I should say very few new cases of infection, whilst in some countries that is definitely not the case. As you've seen with us, we are in a slight decline, but still having 4,000 to 6,000 new cases every day is a very, very great number. And obviously having the number of people who sadly passed away within a range of 800 is absolutely devastating. It is unbelievable. I mean, honestly, I talk to doctors who work in intensive care units, and they said we've never seen anything like it, because usually we will have a certain percentage of people who will come in and then leave, and in this instance it's 66% of those people who go to intensive care in our hospitals do not come out alive, and that is just unbelievable. It is just it's a heartbreaking type of awareness, because the medical staff and doctors do everything possible, but unfortunately they're failing because the illness is so pertinent. And therefore I think it's extremely important for everyone to accept the fact that we need to have a nuclear shelter mentality for the time to come. There's no sight of anything that will provide vaccine shortly. We are talking about anything from 12 to 16 months of research and works. There may well be some medication introduced in the meantime, but still it isn't a guarantee that you're not going to be getting the virus. So coming back to all I said recently many times, you need to stay at home, you need to stay indoors, you need to protect the NHS or your own national health service, your local health service, wherever it is, be it in the US or Russia, and therefore you are going to be saving lives. So remember this: stay at home, stay indoors, protect your health service, protect the NHS, save lives. That is the sequence you got to have drilled into your mind every single day. I've been in quarantine for 49 days. 49 days. In no time I'll reach 2 months of spending my time completely indoors. I've not been at all during the day. I've not seen sunshine or daylight or anything like that. I can feel it on me. I'm a very outdoorsy kind of person. I always combine my kind of seated activity with a lot of physical activity out there. I live near a nature reserve, and it's literally 2 minutes before I can just, before I get there, really, I just stroll from my place to this wonderful big park, and I just can't do any of this because I know that if I catch the virus, I probably will die, and I really, first of all, don't want to die at the moment, and secondly, I want to prevent the spread of the virus. I don't want to even if I, let's say, caught the virus and I had it like in an asymptomatic fashion, so I had no symptoms, I was not affected at all, it means that I'll be carrying the virus for quite a few weeks. It could be up to 3 or 4 weeks, I think. The capacity for the virus to be transmitted, certainly within the first 2 weeks, is the greatest possible rate of transmission, and therefore I could be infecting others. I mean, what sort of person would I be? Considering that we had more than 20,000 British lives lost in our hospitals already. It just would be, I would be a no human. I would be, beneath contempt. So I've taken early measures because I've had through the, well, obviously I knew what was happening in a wider world, on the global scale, and we've had some warnings coming in already at the end of February that the pandemic may be imminent, but nobody thought that it was going to be spreading this fast. However, considering that in London in particular, if you use public transport and you travel, the concentration of humans is so phenomenally great that it is almost impossible to avoid catching certain viruses if you are on the underground. It's just a fact, considering how many people travel every day and all this. And therefore I've taken early precautions. And I'm very, very happy that I've done that. I'm not the only one. Lots of people who I know did exactly the same. Obviously we've been positioned to do that. And then already from early March, there's been government advice for people to stay away from public places, and it was like an advisory for 2 weeks, and then after that it was a lockdown. So altogether it's already been 6 weeks of paralysis in our country, affecting the economy and life elsewhere. But what is really incredible is when you look at it, the silence. I live in a very well populated urbanized area, and the silence during the day is incredible. And at night, it's like as if you were in Himalayas or the Dolomites. You can hear the silence, you can smell the air. It is extraordinary. I mean, the quality of air in our environment, it's been declared, has improved to the level not seen in Britain, or I should say in this environment, London environment, since 1820s. 200 years. So think about it. 6 weeks of paralysis with industry had enhanced the quality of air to a degree not seen. And that's incredible. I mean, hopefully the governments and the officials will keep this in mind once we come to the end of this lockdown, because we want that fresh air, we want that clean air, we want to prolong life, we want to enable the wildlife to flourish. And in my local area, which is actually a nature reserve, you don't see rabbits or foxes or any other animals which otherwise you would, due to the presence of humans and pollution and everything else. But as no humans were present there now for 6 weeks, and as the air had obviously had become less contaminated and much clearer really during the last few weeks, it's a very, very high quality air that we all breathe in at the moment, that all the animals had come out. You can actually see foxes, you can see rabbits. It's extra, the entire balance has been changing so rapidly, and anyway, we want to crack on with the bleeding edge, and I just want to say, stay at home, stay indoors, protect the NHS, save lives, and be a hero. You are going to be a hero because you are protecting lives, you're preventing the spread of the virus, if you're staying at home of course, and you are going to be a hero if you join us in here. You'll be one of these characters. You'll be Master Chief in Halo, you'll be Marcus Phoenix in Gears of War, you'll be Commander Shepard in Mass Effect, or any other character, and indeed through your heroic efforts of staying indoors, preventing social contact, face-to-face that is. Contact everyone through WhatsApp and Skype at any given moment in time, but do not meet anyone face-to-face. And therefore you will be preventing the spread of the virus. Right, so what we need to do first of all is we look at options. I want to see audio. We need to decrease the sound to a lot less, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear anything I was saying. So put everything on 4. There we are. That should be it. That should be all good. I think everything else is as it should be. So now I can't hear the game at all on my system. Alright, so let me see. We need to first of all complete a tutorial. I did complete it before, and that tutorial is very, very lengthy. So we'll do that first. Let's see the profile. Looks like the stats have been imported, and they've been imported because I played beta, and that's strange because I thought they said beta was not going to be counting and it will not register. But what I want to tell you also is that I played those characters a lot more. We've had the whole weekend of Bleeding Edge, so this would have been like 4 days, and very frequently none of those really registered. And I would play like a series of matches and it would come up like I played one of those characters for 10 minutes when in fact I played him for several hours. So this was obviously very troubling at the time, and we'll try to really put things right. So once again I want to see the profile. So that's history. So these are the characters. Let's see, just a second. Oh, I see, it's up there. Okay. So that's all good, and then we'll go to our training. So that is going to be our tutorials. So our tutorials first, fighter basics. Everyone who's watching should just literally now pay attention to all that needs to be done. I know that the tutorial is very lengthy and that's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it is fundamentally important you complete it once, or maybe even you redo it several times, because that is how you are going to learn all about the special powers and skills that the characters need to have. Otherwise the game is going to be very difficult, as you will see. It is a difficult game. You need to do it as a team, and you need to use certain powers, well, depending on what characters they have in the opposing team, but it's all about tactics and strategies, and let's hope it is going to work well on the tech front. That was not the case during the beta days, and I'm doing this for the first time really since they launched the game on Xbox Game Pass. Okay, so combat basics, keep calm and hit things hard.
Welcome to combat training. I'm gonna run you through the basics and get you fit for your match.
Forgot to switch off subtitles. We'll do a bit later. Aye, Captain. So it's very easy to learn how to jump, obviously.
Every fighter has a basic attack. Since you got a melee weapon, you can perform combos.
So we need to use X. So you need to be pressing this X many times, like 4 times, right? Which is a bit tricky.
Cool. You've also got 3 special moves.
So as you could see, each one of those will provide you with another hack. Okay, so let's try.
These are powerful abilities that have a cooldown.
Why is this not working? It's weird. Look. No, that's not it. That's odd. Try RB special. Oh, I see. I was doing the wrong thing. Okay, fair enough. Well, you gotta be very fast once you get in the arena, as you'll get lots of different characters attacking at the same time.
This is a good opportunity to learn about evade. Evade is super important to master because it gets you out of trouble. Try evading Gizmo's vortex bomb.
And this is what we don't want to see. The game froze. Technically, yet again, some problems so early, and we were just doing our tutorial. But you know, no big deal. Can redo tutorials several times. You learn better. You position yourself, obviously, well, and you have a bit more of advantage once getting into the matches. So that's pretty good. No idea why the game froze.
You ready?
So we're doing the same thing, we're jumping a bit, and then we'll be using our hacks.
Every fighter has a basic attack.
Okay, so that's all done.
You've also got 3 special moves. These are powerful abilities that have a cooldown.
Okay.
Looks like Gizmo wants to make things interesting. This is a good opportunity to learn about evade. Evade is super important to master because it gets you out of trouble. Try evading Gizmo's vortex bomb.
Why is the game freezing? And this is like off Xbox Game Pass, you know, it's top notch. So what do I do? Resume. I don't believe it, I've got to do it again. I've got to finish the tutorial in order to enter the game. And if it's going to be freezing every single time, then we're just done, I'm afraid. There's nothing much we can do.
gonna run you through the basics and get you fit for your match. You ready? Every fighter has a basic attack. Since you... Cool. You've also got three. These are power... Looks like Gizmo wants to make things interesting. This is a good opportunity to learn about evade. Evade is super important to master because it gets you out of trouble. Try evading Gizmo's vortex bomb.
There's nothing we can do, it's frozen. It's freezing every single time I go through the tutorial. Looks like I can't be completing it then. Mind you, I've done it before, so... Just double check. Let me see whether they reported an issue on their website or on their Twitter. Let's see. Oh, I got already 80 gamer points achievements because I've entered the game, so that's nice and easy. Hang on. Let's see. We got Bleeding Edge there on top. Bleeding Edge. Okay, telling us that we can play for free. Buttercup, we've seen that. Kulev 2 days ago. No, nothing like that. Support bleedingedge.com. Let's see. No, they didn't report anything at all. Not a single thing. So I don't know what's going on, but we can't do tutorial basically because it's freezing. So we need to quit the main menu, and then we'll try really do the game without it. But I think it may be difficult because with that tutorial we're unlocking certain skills. So let me see whether we can progress at all. Mind you, as it appeared, I can't registered. It means that it probably registered also all I've done before. And basic objective control. Let's try that. But if he carries on with his freezing, then that is going to be seriously annoying.
Welcome to the Objective Control Game Mode tutorial. Capturing and holding objectives increases your team's score. This shows the time remaining until objectives activate. Wait for the objective to activate. Now stand on the objective to capture it. Your team will earn points as long as you hold objectives. The first team to reach this many points wins the match. This shows how much longer the objectives are active. For the purposes of the tutorial, the timer won't expire.
Okay, so we need to be running, racing.
Come, friend. Let us find another objective to kill.
Go with me, Goo. Use the minimap to find objective B.
This is the enemy.
Gizmo is blocking our path. Let's take
Gizmo out. Sweet! You get 10 points. Don't forget, winning continue on to objective B.
Okay, so we need to go to objective B. Okay, so that is where? There.
There's object.
Another enemy combatant. I think the...
Enemy got there first. We
Yeah.
cannot capture the objective while Demon stands on it. Let's take him out. Let us contest objective B.
See if you can defeat me and capture objective B. Well done. Remember, the key to victory is to hold as many objectives as possible and win team fights.
You have no honor.
That was awesome!
This is cool. I forgot to take a screenshot of this, but never mind, we'll do it. Do it later. Power collection is the next one. We'll try the first tutorial, the end of this exercise, but then, you know, may not work again.
Welcome to Power Collection Game Mode Training. The aim of Power Collection is to collect power cells and deliver them at drop zones. Collect power cells by destroying canisters. And deliver them at drop zones to earn points for your team.
Okay.
Power collection has two phases, collection and delivery.
Collection and delivery.
Collection phase, find and destroy canisters to collect the power cells inside. Wait a second until the canisters spawn. Now destroy the canisters and collect the power cells. This shows how many power cells are holding.
2.
This shows you how many power cells are held by your team. And this is how many the enemy team is holding.
The enemy has more power cells than us. Let's hunt for more in the next building.
Use the launch pad and search for more power cells in the next building.
Oh, look at them. We better be fast now.
We found more power cells, but Nave is already collect. Quickly, let's...
Help me go defeat me!
Young blood is life.
You earned 1 point. Fighters also drop their power cells when they die. Collect the cells Maeve dropped and destroy that final canister.
There we are.
Power cells have been collected. The delivery phase begins. During the delivery phase, drop zones activate where you can hand in power cells to earn points. Head over to drop zone A. Stand still on the drop zone to deliver your power cells.
Oh,
Being attacked interrupts delivery. You have to clear enemies away before you can deliver power cells.
Is now your
Defeat all the stardom and deliver all power cells.
well, that was really tricky.
Deliver our power cells.
Delivering power cells generates
So it really generates the points.
grants points as well. A well-balanced strategy is to win team fights and deliver as many power cells as possible.
You have no honor.
This is quite good, quite like that. She looks a bit like the characters from Fortnite, would you not agree? Well, it does have the elements of Fortnite, of course, with fighting and with running and all sorts, battle royale, of course. So it's a mixture of influences, but still quite original. I think people complained that the maps were a bit too tight. But I'm not sure whether I agree in full. I think it's really applicable to this sort of activity, or to this sort of game. Advanced controls. So we'll do the last section of the tutorial and then we'll dive in. We'll meet some of those teams, and I'm certain that the teams are going to be very good and very experienced. Because guess what? People already played the game for a few weeks and they got better and better at it. So there we are. There'll be some fierce opponents. But we need to complete the tutorial first.
Welcome to the advanced tutorial. Let's start by learning about power-ups. This power-up crate contains a 25% damage boost, but you need to destroy it to get inside. Destroy the crate and grab the power-up. This icon lets you know your damage boost is active.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Let's try out that extra damage. Take down Zero Cool. limited time, so use them wisely. Next, let's look at abilities that support advanced casting techniques. Abilities showing this icon can be manually positioned.
Come get some.
Practice manually placing your sucker bomb to hit Nidhogg.
I see. So that's a bit tricky. Hang on, so manual targeting. I see. Okay. Oh, that's ridiculous. It's a bit tricky.
Well-placed abilities provide more benefit to your team. You can also cancel targeting if you decide not to cast the ability. Try activating and canceling your ability now.
Okay.
Some fighters can also cancel active abilities. I'll let you experiment with that later. Let's get Miko in to help learn about double tap abilities.
There's lots of special abilities that one needs to remember.
Reduce your health so you can practice self-healing. Abilities showing this icon are double tap abilities. That means you can cast them on allies with a single tap or yourself with a double tap. Try it now to heal yourself up.
Yes. My heart sings.
Nice healing. Don't forget to keep an eye out for abilities that can be self-cast. You can lock on to an enemy. While locked on, all your attacks target the locked enemy. Try locking on to Maeve now.
God crack almighty.
To be honest, this is quite tricky if you are in a fierce combat, because everything is like really fast and you keep pressing all the buttons and everything. But you know, we'll see how it works in combat, so...
While locked on, you can also switch targets.
Okay.
Try locking on and switching targets between me and Maeve.
I need to press, okay.
Lock on is a great way to focus on a specific enemy. So master it well,
Okay.
Misfit. Sometimes you're gonna get knocked down, and that's when you need your get up attack. Get up attacks help you get up safely and push enemies away to give you a bit of breathing room. Another great move for repelling the enemy is parry. But the
Parry.
timing can be tricky. You must stand still and parry at the last moment to deflect the enemy away. Perfect. Now try it at full speed. Parry just before the moment of impact. Nice. Unlike evade, parrying costs no stamina. Remember, you can come to the dojo at any time to work on your parrying skills.
Come to the dojo at any time to work on your parrying
Don't forget, you have to
skills.
stand still
Okay.
to parry. Communicating with your team is really important, so I'd recommend getting to know the ping system.
Yeah, it's similar to what we had in Apex, but I find it good for maybe target indication, but otherwise it's a bit naff.
Ping an enemy to signal that you want to attack them. If you're locked on, you'll ping your locked target.
Because any audio comms are really always most important. It's really for people who don't want to be using the mics, you know, if they're participating in broadcasts and all. But it actually slows down the effort. It's much more difficult to you know, coordinate your activity as a squad if you can't communicate properly. So it's just like you know, like a substitute for audio. But let me see. You can signal who you want to attack by tapping bottom to ping.
Try pinging me and Maeve now.
This is, you know, that's like really
Focus on damage.
no. Well, I mean, I can see the thinking behind it, but when you are in fierce combat, this is like deathmatch. Why on earth would you want to be using this? There's no time, because whilst you're fiddling with these comms, you get killed. So, you know. Mind you, some people might be that fast to do that successfully compared to me, so... Ping objects. I'm going to power up crate. That's not the one. Where is it? I think I've not not been listening to the instructions, so I'm a bit behind. Okay, go to power crate.
Try pinging that power crate over there.
Let's snap some power-ups.
You can hold the input to more precisely pick an object to ping. Holding the input also gives you access to preset callouts.
Gang up, guys. Give a hand. Bail out.
That's everything. Don't forget, you can come back anytime if you need a refresher.
What
Good luck out there,
excellence!
Misfit.
Maeve's awesome, look at her in there. Well, we definitely want to take a screenshot of her. I love the characters, the way they're designed, and it's like really, really cool. So go to main menu, and I think we completed everything. The only thing we didn't complete is in this first tutorial, but everyone see whether we can still replay it, because I want to collect everything, you know, the achievements and all that we can get really for today's session. How's everybody doing? You guys healthy, safe and well? Are you spending your time indoors? Are you at home? I certainly hope you are. Sticking to the rules. We'll try it one last time, and if it's freezing, then obviously we are going to be cracking on, perhaps with Dojo, which is the next step.
Welcome to combat training. I'm gonna run you through. You ready?
Absolutely ready. The rest of them worked fine, but so there must be a glitch somewhere.
Every fighter has a bait.
See, this is quite potent and really
Cool.
very good for team effort.
These are powerful abilities that have a cool.
Done.
Looks like Gizmo wants to make things interesting. This is a good opportunity to learn about evade. Evade is super important to master because it gets you out of trouble. Try evading Gizmo's vortex bomb.
Sadly, it doesn't want to work, so we need to reload tutorial. No, quit to main menu. Yeah, we'll see whether we can get to that dojo and then try it. Might be interesting. Might be a good step forward in the right direction. We're doing Bleeding Edge as it is offered free of charge this weekend through Ultimate and Xbox Live Gold. So anyone who's on Microsoft and Xbox is going to be able to play the game for free, in full, I think until the end of day today. Okay, we've done that already. So why is it that we're being brought back to this? To advanced combat again, but then I need to see what else we need to do. It's a bit strange that we can't progress. That glitch is killing it, you know? It really is, because we want to complete the full tutorial and hopefully get you know, a proper achievement, and that's just not happening. So what's happening now? No idea. Being brought back to the tutorial and we don't want to go there. Hang on. Okay. Okay, go back to training. And then dojo. Glossary. Okay. Okay, we'll do dojo to practice a bit. You can choose several characters and then try.
Better shred than dead.
Okay. Dojo settings. it's all well and fine here with our AI, but once you get in the arena with PvP, it gets a lot more difficult. I'm a fire starter, you know that one. Okay, change fighter. So we tried him. Now we'll try her. Another character.
Let's tear it up.
Look at him.
Now you see how you do.
He can do it, you see, which is pretty massive big Sam. This is a very good way if you want to be practicing your tactics just on a particular character. So for instance, you want him to be invisible, he runs like... I remember beta and somebody was all the tasking me on this invisibility.
Ghosted.
Put characters to sleep. You learn that as you go along, you know.
I'm out. Let's take a notch. Ghosted.
And he's also so if you want to rapid fire, he is really bad. Okay, another one.
Let's tear it up.
Can take a screenshot of him. This is like our teacher in there. Okay, we do advanced. Oh no, that was wrong.
The fount spores from you. The way I don't target what you do. Your energy now.
Yeah, this character is lovable, but the actual fighting ability is not really as good as some of the others. So obviously various characters could be positioned appropriately depending on what you want with them, you know?
Young blood is life.
Okay, next. Dive bomb. This game is excellent for social networking. It really has a great number of opportunities to connect with other people, you know, so really very good from that point of view.
Today.
Weird mermaid. what we can do with our feet in here. Backward jump is quite sometimes to divert the. He is actually quite mighty with those sabers. You'll see that in a minute when we get there. Okay, so we go back to Maeve.
The barrier has risen.
Heal the bull. Easier too, which is good.
History has
If you're frozen, you die quick. The best way of doing it is basically mastering those characters one by one, and then you will know exactly what you can use. Make a big difference. So that's basically for you to get rejuvenated.
take cover, friends. Hurt, foe.
Okay, go to another character quickly because I want to have at least 1 or 2 matches before I have a break. I really like this character, he's really cool. Look at him. Kulav. Got this massive big serpent. Poison. Watch this.
He's cast.
It's got that degree of protection, which is good. Well, he's quite good in diverting this, but really in terms of the pertinency, you know, the first character with samurai style character is the best. Because he's rapid and he's invisible and he can do all sorts, so he can be like Ali, and this one could be your. Just remember that. Okay. So what else do we have? Let's see. This one suggested. I think I've played this character before. Okay. Oh, that's good. That ghost is also
The recharger. Beauty bop beep boop pwned. You need something something?
yeah. He's a bit limited in terms of abilities. A long while to eliminate as well. Okay, Muerte. The last one we'll do is Bastardo. I'm gonna pronounce his name in full because we are a family-friendly channel. Makut is really. He's a bit tanky in Apex as well. See how fast he is. Alright, and then we'll have
Let's roll.
Let's roll indeed. Want to squeeze in one match before the really. Very mighty. This character is ideal if you want her to be attack group, because this is like those massive big circulars that are destroying everyone. Make sure you step away from her if you're in a group. Okay, so the last character we have is him.
Yeah.
He's quite good as well. Tweaked him a bit. He was a lot more deadly. Oh, yeah. Rotate a bit. Alright, let's crack on with the first match, shall we? So let me see. Go to the main menu. And let's have one match. And I want to have a hot drink as well. Are we being chucked in? Let me see. I need to choose my character, I think. Collect and deliver. I think I'll take him. Just take him. Okay.
Better shred than dead.
So what's happening in there? Something went wrong with that matchmaking by the looks of it. Let's see. There was a glitch on tutorial. We couldn't complete tutorial because there was one lesson that just froze the whole thing. The game was freezing. Don't know what's going on in there. We're going back to fight, I think. training workshop. What's there in that workshop? Let's see. Melee damage. Mods. Only one mod. Okay. Mods. What's going on? Why is it not registering? Don't understand. Mods? Oh, I see this one, okay. Okay. So it's quick recovery. Fair enough, we've got this, and then we have one mod there for our friends. Okay, so these are enabled. Okay. Skins. Classic. Okay. They need to be unlocked, obviously. Okay, so that's all good. We're going back to social. Okay. Watch zone. Okay, that's not something that we want to be doing at the moment. Fight. Let me see whether it will work, because we crashed. We were trying to get in and then suddenly we were out. And I really want to have at least one match before my break at 1600. I'm watching our daily press conference at 1600, and after it finishes I'll come back. We'll do a bit more. Bleeding Edge it is today, and also we have XCOM 2, another game that is available free of charge this week on Xbox if you are a subscriber to Ultimate or Xbox Live Gold. And I definitely want to try that game. It's been a long while since I really wanted to get my hands on it, and this is a perfect opportunity. Sadly, I won't have that much time to try it. It's an RPG similar to Fallout, with all kinds of elements of sci-fi and space opera, and invaders from another planet, and monsters and X-Files, and you name it, it's all thrown in at once. So we'll do that later today. I really want to try it, but Bleeding Edge we played quite a bit through, and I wanted to obviously provide you with that tutorial so you learn a bit about those characters and all that we need to do. Okay, so let me see. Taken. We'll take him.
Better shred than dead.
Your team has no support. Fight. Okay. So what's going on? Why are we being brought back? I don't get it. odd. It's for the third time that we are not being thrown in. And the message was, your team has no support fighter. I need to choose another character then, I guess. What else? I quite like this as well, I have to say. This is really good fun. Looking a bit like Japanese manga graphic novels, if you guys are familiar. Capture objectives. Okay, he's been taken.
For a slaughter.
So what now? Are we being thrown out again? It's offered free of charge this weekend, but the game's just crashed and I had to start from the beginning. I don't know what on earth is going on. It's really not on. And there's just simply nothing said on Ninja Theory website. There's no indication of any technical problems. So how on earth are we to be enjoying the game if it's crashing all the time? It's, you know, freezing on tutorial, not allowing us to get in. We've been booted about half a dozen times after getting into the arena, and the message was no support players in your team. Crazy. It doesn't look to me like the game is performing well on the technical front, you know? And that was the problem when we were doing beta, and that's a little while back now. Looks like... okay, let's see what's happening. Matchmaking. We're just left there to wait.
Like when it all started, Damon.
Speak up. Now let's go make it.
No, as you could see, it's crashing all the time. I'm afraid, my friends, I'll have to discontinue. I need to take a break because I'll be watching press conference, and I'll be back in about an hour with more Bleeding Edge. But if the matchmaking is not working and we have crashes, we'll just migrate to the other game, and the game is going to be XCOM 2. Because I want to try the game and this is just not operating. Very, very disappointed to see that this is all going on yet again, and it's a free weekend for everyone to try. But anyway, I'm taking a break now. I'll be back in about an hour, so thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial, all I said about Bleeding Edge, and certainly this is a game with a lot of potential, and we'll revisit it in about an hour. So if you stay with us, if you pop in within 60 minutes, I'll be back here on my DRBMiller Gaming Dialogue channel, and we'll carry on with our exploration of this game. Until then, I wish you all a very, very good afternoon.